people think of polarity and they hear, oh, it's the woo-woo stuff. And my intention is always to create a bridge between the rational, the logical, and the woo-woo, because that's not my jam, goddesses and spirits and all of that. But for me, polarity is very real in that we hold so much energy in our bodies. We hold so much pain in our bodies. And the reality is our communication is 80% nonverbal. Our energy is projected out into the world. And so to deny the importance of understanding energy between men and women and how that works is really denying 80% of what's possible between men and women. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ancient Intelligence. You've got your host Anya Shack here, and today I want to do a teaching on one of the guiding principles of polarity. Polarity between men and women. I really love this topic. I've learned so much about it in my own experience, and I find that when people really get this and internalize it and release whatever is holding them back from experiencing this and witnessing it in others, it's quite a game changer. So polarity is, effectively the harmonious energetic flow between men and women based on the fact that men have extremely different forms of speech, perceptions, ways of thinking, needs, desires, and way that they do things, and women have different ones, okay? And the notion that these two different ways of being in the world are complementary, and when we put them together and we open the channel of flow between the two, really beautiful, harmonious, inspired, powerful relationships between men and women are possible. And, sometimes, people think of polarity and they hear, oh, it's the woo-woo stuff. And my intention is always to create a bridge between the rational, the logical, and the woo-woo, because that's not my jam, goddesses and spirits and all of that. But for me, polarity is very real in that we hold so much energy in our bodies. We hold so much pain in our bodies. And the reality is our communication is 80% nonverbal. Our energy is projected out into the world. And so to deny the importance of understanding energy between men and women and how that works is really denying 80% of what's possible between men and women, right? And in my coaching, I teach on this a lot, and I specifically help my clients understand where there's broken polarity in their lives and help them create better systems, better flow, more harmony, so they can get their power back, they can have the love that they're looking for, right? And just have the freedom and the clarity that they really, really want. No more like getting rid of that tension and that stuckness. And speaking of tension and stuckness, there's a lot of that between men and women in the world at scale. And that's because there's so much missing between men and women when it comes to understanding this flow. Okay, so I'm going to teach on one of the guiding principles that I think affects so much of what we see. And I'm going to throw in some examples and we'll flow with this one. We'll see how it goes. I'm very passionate about this one. So a man's greatest asset is his attention. Okay. It's his attention. A woman's greatest asset is her delight. A man is so good at focus and singular focus and putting his attention in very specific places to get work done, to get the job done, to get things done, to build the world. Literally, the entire world, the house that I'm sitting in, everything that we see, all of the infrastructure that has been created is thanks to a man and his extremely, extremely important attention. Now, women, our attention is diffused. It's not as focused. And so we have a lot of things calling our attention at once. And so when it comes to figuring out what is our most what is our most expensive, meaningful currency, it's actually delight. This idea of experiencing delight, and the result of experiencing delight is feeling radiance, is experiencing radiance and just showcasing radiance to the world. And it's really interesting that when a man is extremely present and attentive to a woman, her ability to be delighted by the world and to be in delight grows. Same thing with the reverse. If a man is not focused on her, but she is experiencing delight and she is radiant and having fun and just letting life really move through her, suddenly he's really focused on her and he experiences inspiration. She inspires him. And what the true teaching here is that when that happens, he's inspired to create structure for her, to protect her, to make sure her radiance doesn't get hurt. And that's the really beautiful, like symbiotic relationship there. And there's so many movies that showcase this dynamic really beautifully. And the reality is that I remember I did like a survey maybe 2 years ago with some of my followers, and pretty much every single man said that I asked the question, like, what is the one thing that you're missing from women in your life? And the men said, I'm missing acknowledgement, like I'm missing appreciation. And I'll explain why that's related to attention here in a second. And then women asking them the same question, they're like, oh, I'm missing attention from him. Like, I feel like he's just not present with me. Like he's doing other things. He's busy doing all these other things. And so the punchline here, the point here is that he's looking for appreciation for the way that he puts his attention towards all of these different things in life, such that they create structure for her, right? It's like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm making the money, I'm focusing on our investments, I'm putting my attention into all of these different really important places because I want to protect your radiance. Now, what happens is, of course, is a woman feels disregarded and she just feels like she doesn't matter, she's not important when she doesn't get his attention. A woman always wants her man's attention. And I've said this so many times before. It's like 20 minutes of really, really good attention is so much better than 4 hours of like half baked, I'm on my phone, I'm on my computer attention. Really, it's like food for women. It's like food for women. I've always talked about it as like the masculine light switch. Masculine attention and presence directed towards the woman in his life is like a light switch. It makes us feel grounded and at peace and safe. And so there's an ability for that radiance and that delight in life to come through. Now, on the flip side of things, sometimes I think women get to just go ahead and let life move through them even without that attention and find a way to experience delight no matter what. And what ends up happening when women do that is they notice that the person that they want the attention from comes to them. And so it's really interesting. Like we see this happen in Pretty Woman, like a couple of different movies, right? You think about Pretty Woman, whatever you may think about the actual storyline doesn't really matter here. The idea is that Julia Roberts' character and Richard Gere's character, he's this like high-powered, like executive, really just serious and focused and really just not enjoying life, not inspired by life, really kind of hates his life, but he's really rich and makes lots of money. And she is a prostitute and she comes into his world and she's just like delighting in life. Like there's a scene I remember where she's got her headphones on and she's in the bathtub and she's just like jamming out to Prince or Michael Jackson. I don't remember what was playing. And he just like watches her. It's like, man, what must it be like to be so delighted by life, to be so radiant? And I think that is food for him, that radiance, that joy of life, that amazing just ability to let life move through you. And I think what that did is that made him a better person. It inspired him to want to protect her. It gave him meaning. It gave him meaning in his life. And when we don't have that flow, that beautiful flow of delight and attention, we miss out on so much beauty. And I think Sabrina with the Harrison Ford movie is also a really good example of that. Really high-powered, serious, very wealthy guy, just not delighted by anything. And then he becomes delighted by her, and it's very beautiful. And so it's really interesting because this principle goes directly into some of the, like, let's take this from theoretical principle into the way that men and women choose to be in life. So you think about how women, we usually want to be like in life, dancing, soaking up the moment. With conversations with women, we're like right here, right here. Whereas men, it seems like when men are really focused and like did some really hard work, they just want to kind of sit back. They just want to let the sunset happen and like let the watch the lake. And when men are having conversations, they're usually having them shoulder to shoulder. They're not looking at each other, they're looking out at the world. And so this idea of like their attention is moving from the thing they were focused on, and now their attention is focused on delighting in the world, in the beauty, in nature, in a beautiful woman dancing, right? For example, it's the same thing. What's really important is, I think, what's missed a lot is men are way more sensitive than women. And what I mean by that is energetically. I think men are energetic geniuses, like geniuses. I've asked men before, like, so, what makes you really, see a woman, you feel inspired to walk over to her and you just really like, you're just, something comes over you. He's like, I don't know. It's just this thing, this like energy, this thing. I can't quite put my finger on it. It's not just because she's hot. It's not that. There's something radiant about this woman. There's something alluring about her. She's clearly got discernment. She's clearly got confidence. She's clearly just excited to be alive and be in the world. And she's just she does something that I can't do, or I don't have access to without her. There's a really, really beautiful example. I was on a hike with a friend when I was in Australia, and it was kind of cold. It was just a beautiful place, and there was this amazing tree that was uh, like this tree trunk that was like, I don't know, 75 degrees, like laying down from the bottom all the way up to these other rocks. And it was it seemed a little bit scary, but exciting. And I was like, oh my God, let's go climb this. Let's go climb it. Let's see if we can do it. And we had to like take off our shoes and get our feet wet. And after that experience, it was so much fun. The guy that I was hiking with, he was just like, oh, you just like invited me into delighting in Mother Nature. And like it was like your little girl delight was like, oh my God, let's go do this. This is so much fun. And I just think, men get so inspired by that, right? Like he probably wouldn't have uh, thought about, he basically, he was just like, well, like he just wouldn't have had that idea to do that just because it would be fun, right? And that's what we do for each other. And so, and maybe he was thinking about like the protective nature of it too. Like, well, it might be a little dangerous, let's not. It makes me think of like the Jack and Rose famous scene on the Titanic, right? She like goes up there and she's like, you know, just like I'm flying, right? And that's her radiance. And then he instinctually wanted to come up right behind her and protect her. He didn't want to like dim her light. He just wanted to protect her light so that she doesn't fall. And so I think that's that beautiful symbiotic relationship. And it's just really, really lovely. And so I think oftentimes when men are just looking for appreciation for all the things that they do to protect and provide and maintain, um, what women are reacting to is the fact that like they haven't been given attention in so long. And I've heard many stories like that, right? Where it's been just like weeks since a man has even looked at his wife. And that's really sad. It's really heartbreaking. And I imagine there's obviously reasons for that. on the other side, and we can go back and back and forth, but that's not the point here. The point is it's really easy for a man to go away when that is happening, when he's feeling that. It's really easy for him to say, well, screw this, I'm out of here, and just walk away. And for her, her tendency when she's not feeling seen is to close down and to become brittle and to do the opposite of enjoying life and being open to life. And what the healing thing in that, like the conscious relating answer to that, is to do the opposite of what the gut instinct wants you to do, right? It's for the man to stay and for him to say, okay, I want to be here and I want to give attention and my presence because I know that's my most expensive currency. And then for her, it's I want to give my openness. I want to just be immersed in life here, right? And be open. And it's really important, just this notion of like presence for a man being his most expensive currency. It's so true. I walk around and I'm like, man, if somebody around in this restaurant around it just had a little more presence and attention, they would be instantly magnetic to a woman. But there's just such a lack of that. It's like people don't really understand these principles and they don't understand how actively they work out in the world. So I think that's a beautiful place to end. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. And until the next one. Hello, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'm so happy to be here bringing my wisdom, my truths, all the research I do into pop culture and evolutionary psych and beyond to bring men and women the information that we all need to know to find that ultimate harmony with each other. This is the mission. This is why I'm here. This is what I believe in. So if you found value in what I'm doing here, please help me grow the podcast. And you can do one of two things. Either share the episode with a friend or leave me a review on Spotify or Apple. This will help me so much. Until next time.